Yeah. That nickel 9. Yeah. 59J. Let me speak my mind up. It's just me keeping it real. Keeping it 100. Let's go. Yeah.
Hey yo, what's good with everybody, man? I hope everybody's having a productive day, feeling blessed, and like I always say, is one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. That being said, man, I love pro clubs. I buy like once a month. I buy like maybe 6 whites and 6 blacks, 6 grays. But once you wash them, it's over with. So I went to Walmart. They got discounts right now. They got clearances. This shirt was $3. Comfy, not thick. I can breathe in it. Honestly, I was looking at Walmart and I was like, man, this is some gear I can rock, dude. No lie, a little bit different. Gotta change it up a little bit, but I can rock these outfits. So, you know what I mean? Don't hate on Walmart, man. Don't overlook it, man. Don't sleep on Walmart. I'm telling you right now. We got clearances right now. Just saying. But I wanted to do this video. You know, I did a story about Big Wicked from Compton and his passing. And then I sat back and observed because, you know, I'm not really familiar with the situation other than, you know, I followed them on Instagram because, you know, that's kind of like what I want to do with myself and transition my body. You know, I don't want to be like a bodybuilder. Like, those dudes are huge, bro. I want to be able to wipe my own butt. But, you know, they're inspiring to see, you know, criminals or people from neighborhoods off the streets and, you know, instead of drinking, instead of, you know, consuming and becoming obese and eating all this junk food on every street corner that you see in the neighborhoods. These guys were physically in shape and were inspiring other people to become in shape. And who doesn't want to look good? You know, sometimes I have my days where, you know, my hair's off, you know, fuzzy, and I'm in the mirror looking at my dad bod like, man, women say they love dad bods, but I don't really think so, because the moment they see a dude swole or fresh out the gym or with a toned body, they start drooling, and we're just right there like, oh yeah, so my man boobs ain't good enough for you no more. What's up? What's good, man? My belly ain't warm enough to sleep on like a pillow. But anyways, you know, they inspired me to become big and get big. So slowly and surely I've been working, but you know, that night shift, that graveyard shift it ain't for the weak, man. I'm on demon time, so I'll be sleep all day trying to figure things out. Plus doing YouTube takes hours of my day. But you know, they inspired a lot of people to get in shape. Now, they say Big Boy was a millionaire, but a lot of people criticized him for only donating $500 to his homie's Wicked funeral. Now, you know, a lot of people had something to say about that and opinionated on that, but that man's finances and his business is his business. You know, we can't allow social media and the things that we say and the speculations that all us content creators create for people to kind of have an opinion or create an opinion for ourselves or a perspective to judge somebody else, but it happens all the time. So I didn't want to narrate on that. I didn't want to beat up a dead horse. I didn't want to keep bringing, you know, light and speculation, but I seen this video from a content creator that I follow who's also big and swole and looks like Wolverine. You know, his name is Bravo. And he did a video saying that, you know, Big Wicked, his murder was a setup. And he talks about the whole case factors. He's done multiple videos on Ricardo, the individual that shot him and is being charged for 187. And he was able to gain access to the footage as to what took place, as a video surveillance. And it blew my mind because in reference of this video, he talks about how Big Wicked was dating the sister, a girl named Rochelle, who you see across the screen right here. And pretty much the description was, you know, they had a storage place in Norwalk. They went over there, and the surveillance footage shows that, you know, they're having an argument. They described the relationship as being a toxic relationship, you know, being in a relationship with somebody that you can't get away from. So I don't know if it was him or it was her. Being that he passed away, a lot of people might just assume that don't know that the toxic relationship was based on the girl he was dating, the girl he was with, that she was bringing him a lot of problems. A lot of people posted his videos days prior on what he was posting, and that they said that you can hear like he had it coming, or you can hear that he was sad, you can hear that he knew his time was done, that he just wasn't himself. But I can't sit here and say that that's the truth. The dude that did the video described the toxic relationship like just very, very, very toxic. Whatever it is that they were going through, obviously people knew about it. But somebody created a social media video in regards to what the girlfriend's been doing lately. Before I get into that, they said Big Wicked, was having an argument with her in front of the garage in the house of Norwalk where they had, stored some stuff. And the brother comes out and Wicked throws his hands up because the brother, Ricardo, has a gun and then shoots him in the stomach. Now, the video shows that they go back in the house while Wicked's laying on the ground holding his stomach bleeding out. So obviously they panicked. Obviously they didn't see that coming. Obviously she may not have knew the intentions of her brother. But this is why I want to talk about this. But a couple minutes later they come out, put Wicked in the vehicle, drive him to the Norwalk hospital, and dropped him off in the parking lot, and he left. He was just left there dying. They didn't take him in the hospital. They didn't notify the doctors. They didn't let him know, man, it's a victim of a gunshot wound, help him out. Who knows? If they would have took him in the hospital and gave the doctors and nurses an ample amount of time to save that man's life, he could be here today. And we'd hear a different story, an incredible story, a comeback story, a bounce back story. And he probably would have become a hell of a lot more successful after he got to see the kind of relationship he was in and who her family was. He could have got out of that. He would have realized, his best friend, who he claimed it was his best friend, Big Boy, what kind of friend he really was. Could have branched off and created something for himself, became a millionaire himself. There's different scenarios and possibilities and if and ands if they gave that man the chance to live. But instead, the girlfriend or the wife decides to dump his body in the hospital parking lot and just left him there. Then he dies. Now, I'm not saying the gunshot wound was just fatal. We don't know that. We don't know if they would have dropped him off in the hospital, if he could have survived. We don't know if that bullet wound was, just artificial, but just for the simple fact that he was there by himself, abandoned like an animal and left out there to bleed, that he could have died or he could have lived from it. We don't know that now. All we know that is that he passed. He passed away. So obviously they describe the relationship as that, and they start to outline the aspect that his girlfriend, when you're in a relationship with somebody, everybody seems to glorify, and I see a lot of women do this more than anybody on social media. They love toxic relationships. But these toxic relationships, they only like the aspect of the fighting, the nagging, the pressure, being obsessed with one another. I want to check your phone every hour on the hour. I want your location, where you been, what you doing, how come you didn't text me back? It's been 5 minutes. And then they start fights and they start hitting each other and they start punching each other. They start throwing stuff at each other every other day. They're kicking each other. I don't know if that's the kind of toxic relationship they describe these two of having. But it does tell me something about the characteristics, since it's in the paperwork that she dumped his body at the Norwalk hospital. But no charges were filed against her, only on Ricardo. And if that's the case, and if that's the evidence that they have in this case, that they know the wife or the girlfriend dumped his body in the hospital instead of taking him in, wouldn't that make her an accomplice to the murder, as they were describing in that video? Because somebody decided to use TikTok as a platform, post her pictures, and say that she was an accomplice because of what she did and how she dumped the body. And then they show video footage of her just partying it up, months later after Wicked's death. Now, that's the hard part for me because, like I said, people grieve different. A lot of people pointed out the aspect of Money Sign Suede. His girlfriend was posting everything online, and that's what triggered a lot of people on the inside to start targeting Money Sign Suede because of what he was writing in the letters. And a year later, she's pregnant, and she's having a baby with some other dude. And I watched that post, how people criticized her, like, damn, she moved on that fast. Like, that's what he was in love with. And like I said, people grieve different. Maybe she's in the bar and she's trying to have a good time. Maybe she's trying to abandon the thoughts and the grieving process temporarily. Some people resort to alcohol. Some people resort to smoking weed. Some people resort to just overeating, like stress eating. Some people resort to not eating and laying down in bed all day and being depressed. Everybody has different outlets and different reasons and how to go about grieving over somebody or getting over somebody, whether it's a breakup or whether you lost them and become widowed. But I can see how the TikTok video portrays her to be this girl that not only dropped him off at a hospital and didn't care for his livelihood, but months later is out partying, throwing it at any other man at the club. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to take everything at face value. Obviously, everybody's going to have differences of opinion. You're going to develop your own perspective from it. Some people are like, man, she's scandalous for that. Some people will be like, hey, she might be just, grieving, and she just wanted to go get drunk, get out the house. She got tired of the walls closing in. Trust me, we've all grieved. We've all lost somebody close to us, a loved one, a friend, a brother, a husband, or a wife. People have different ways of this. So I can't judge the woman because I don't even know what she's going through. I'm only judging on the basis that in accordance to the surveillance footage and the facts of the case, the points of authority that are being brought up in the investigation, that she dumped his body in a hospital parking lot, not taking him in. Some people panic. I get that. But it's like she got put in a predicament to either support her brother or support her man. But I wouldn't care if she supported her brother and she just loved her brother because that's her brother, that's her bloodline, that's her sibling. But you're holding a man that's been shot and you just want to dump him on the ground? Like, not take him in and, you know what I mean? It's like put him in the hospital, so to speak. Like, save his life. Break up with him or hate him later. But to let a man die or watch a man die or not save the man, not help the man, shows the cruel reality of people and how they think nowadays. Some people, like I said, some people panic. Some people don't know what to do in these kind of situations because they've never been placed in these kind of situations in the first place. But I watched that video and watched the comment section, and I watched how people couldn't stand the fact that's what she did to him. Now, like I said, I didn't read the paperwork. I'm just doing a reaction to the video. He has possession of the paperwork and the surveillance footage. And it's an incredible story how he put it together, emphasizing what took place, all the aspects. Now, was it a setup? I just think maybe they got into an argument and things escalated, and as a brother, he defended his sister, but he went to the extremes, way too far by pulling out a gun. Maybe there's a historical beef that we don't know about that's based from this toxic relationship, and obviously the brother's always going to side with the sister. And obviously the sister's always going to confide in the brother about what's going on in this relationship, but that right there is going to be one-sided. Because the brother and the boyfriend are never gonna see eye to eye. So obviously, it's gonna be one-sided. The brother's always gonna support the sister. So a lot of people are screaming that she should be charged for an accomplice on the basis that that's what she did to the body. So I want to ask you guys' personal opinion by presenting these facts to you that somebody else has provided and posted all over social media, and I just came across it, and I just feel for this video and I feel for this scenario because, for one, like I said, I don't know who Wicked was other than, on Instagrams. But it kind of sucks to see successful people die and pass away when they're in their prime, when they're making it in life. And it's a harsh reality. It's like, as soon as you're doing good, as soon as you reach that point of success or that point in your life where, man, things are going great, there's a big possibility, and the possibility is a hell of a lot bigger that you lose your life or it all comes crumbling down or you fail or somebody tries to bring you down. And they brought him down by taking his life. And this man was a success story. So you can see my passion in his story and in his videos because that man was a success story. No matter what he's done, all his prison time, none of that mattered. He went from prison to this. He was a criminal. He was a gang member. Identified himself from his neighborhood, a representative of his neighborhood, but became a bodybuilder, became successful, encouraged people, inspired people. These are all elements of a success story. Only to see it end like that. And there's a lot of stories like this all over social media that people make it to the top and it's over. Whether it's revenge, whether it's resentment, whether it's jealousy, whether it's hate, whether it's greed. Success stories always end in tragedy for the most part. And that's the part that sucks. That's the reality that sucks that, a lot of us have to endure and accept sometimes that no matter how big you get, there's somebody in your circle or there's somebody out there that doesn't want you to be that big, that will find a reason to take you down. So Ricardo, the brother, is going to do a long time. To him, he's going to probably say it was worth it. There's probably a hell of a lot more to the story about that argument that was taking place in front of that garage that we don't know about, that we probably never will know about. She's not going to come forward and speak on it. And if she does, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the sympathetic card that, I'm this, I'm the victim, I'm that. Well, the victim that we see is the victim that was buried. Is the victim that was dropped off in that parking lot, left for dead, with nobody's help. Nobody rendered any aid to that man. And as somebody being in a toxic relationship, I don't care how toxic it is, it's the decent and human thing to do is try to save that man's life, regardless what the situation was over. And take him to the hospital. Call the ambulance. Get him there. Get him some help. Then you guys can resolve your issues then. And that's the message that I want to point out. In the event that, this was, the essence and the ingredients of a toxic relationship gone bad. Like I said, publicly, I see it all over social media. People adore and admire the concept of a toxic relationship. I thought the person that you're supposed to be with is supposed to be your peace of mind. So why is it that's you? Women and men just brag all day on social media. Man, I want somebody that's controlling. I want somebody that's going to throw me against the wall. I want somebody that's going to yell at me and put me in my place. I want somebody that's willing to raise his hand and hold a gun at me. I want somebody that's going to do this. I want somebody that's going to do that. Like traditionally, I was just taught different. I come home. This is my safe haven. I don't need to come home from a long day of work, of stress of life, stress of bills, stress of co-workers, stress of a-hole supervisors, 12-hour shifts on my feet all day, back and sciatic nerve always hurting, my spine always hurting, my body physically tired and exhausted from doing what I have to do as a man, only to come home and become more exhausted and drained because of a woman's insecurities, because of a woman's controllingness, because of a woman just being toxic. I heard this one of my homies, I said it a long time ago in my videos, but one of my homies, this girl broke up with him. And when we asked her why, she was like, he was too nice. Like, he was a sweetheart. I loved him. He was a great guy. Didn't do nothing to me. Bought me flowers when every once in a while. He'd always come to my house at night after he was kicking it with you guys. But that he wasn't for me. And we couldn't understand it until she said, yeah, I want somebody to choke me. I want somebody to slap me. I want somebody to yell at me. That's what I want, and he wasn't that. So he's a good dude. I didn't mean to break his heart, but that's just what I want. And we all kind of looked at her like, what the? And then she ended up in a relationship actually with a southerner. She went from a northerner to a southerner that literally would have let her walk out the house. Pulled her by her hair, threw her against the wall, threw her in bed, made sure she wore sweats. She didn't dress up nice. She didn't wear makeup. And she had kids with that dude. She was with that dude for a very long time. I don't think they're together no more. But that's what people love nowadays. That's what people adore nowadays, is being with somebody. You like women, that whole concept like, well, we can fight, but we can kiss and make up. That makeup and breakup sex is fire. Like, bro, I don't want to have to go through that. I don't want to have to look forward to makeup and breakup sex as good as it is. Why can't my sex just be good as it is on a consistent basis? Let's spicy it up a little bit. I don't want to have to sit there and go through hell and punch holes in my walls, and you key my car and you break my windshield, and I pull up at your job because your location was off, or because I seen a text of what you doing and it was no name on the caller ID. I don't want to have to live with insecurities because of what a woman's putting me through. I want to be secure with my woman. I want to be secure with my relationship. I want to be in a relationship where we lay a foundation, we build from it, and we create empires. We create generational wealth. I don't want to have to sit here every other night meeting you somewhere at some location. We're both drunk, or we're both high, we're both intoxicated, or we're both just angry with each other, and we're publicly fighting every other day. That is mentally draining to the body. That is not the definition of love. That is not the definition of a relationship. But yet everybody seems to be fans of toxic relationship, and I think that's dangerous. Me personally, don't have anybody in your life that's physically draining you, mentally draining you, or financially draining you. Don't have anybody in your life that's not adding to you. If they're bringing you down, if you're more depressed and more sad and more angry than you are happy, the person that you're with should be the reason you smile. And if they can't make you smile, and they can't make you happy, and they can't bring you peace of mind, get out of it. Get out of it, because life's too short, man. I remember when I went to prison when I was 18. I remember that day as vivid as hell. It's like it was yesterday. 37 right now. I'm already reaching that point. Like, man, 38's on its way, 39 on its way, 40, man, 40 years old. If I ain't married by then, nobody's going to want me. I'm going to have gray hair and a bald head, and it's getting ugly. I'm in that phase right now. Like, bro, I got to get it together now before it's too late. before, you know, everything just starts drooping and sagging and wrinkling and all my tattoos go crazy. You know, when it comes to relationships, as boring as it may sound, I always take peace and tranquility over a toxicness, over an abusive relationship, because it may not be physical, but from experience, I know, because I can admit my faults and admit my flaws and errors from my previous relationship. Verbal abuse, I believe, is a hell of a lot more dangerous than physical abuse. Because I've talked to so many women that were scared to even go on a date with me, scared to even talk to me, scared to get to know me because of what their man did to them mentally. How their men, their exes made them feel mentally. Oh, he called me fat all the time. He said I was ugly. He always cheated on me. Gave these women insecurities, but women do it to men too. Women do it to men too. I'm, like I said, back in the day, I was confident as hell. Now I'm at that point, like, I lost my confidence and I need to regain it back before I enter the dating scene again. You know, I want to feel good with myself. I want to look good with myself. The dad bod messed me up. YouTube and sticking to myself, being introverted so much now, messed me up, where I lost my confidence as a man. But I'm gaining it back little by little by working on myself. But these toxic relationships, once they're over and they don't end like this, the damage is irreparable. It takes a lot. There's a lot of men that just ignore it. They don't take the time to heal. They don't take the time to focus on themselves because they're like, man, I'm out of a relationship. I'm a free man. I'm single. I can have sex with all these ratchets, all these hood rats, all these nasty bops. But that's their outlet to ignore the pain. That is their outlet to ignore deep down the scars that are left within from this toxic relationship. So the only thing a man does really is just put his weenie in something else. Women go about it different. Some women do the same thing as men. That's not a form of healing. And that's not a form of correction. And that's not how you're going to prosper neither. So in today's generation, you know, I believe toxic relationships are highlighted way too much. And people praise them, people adore them, people want that more than they just want a regular relationship. And to be honest with you, I'm old school. I prefer that regular relationship. I want to be able to come home to peace and not dangers and not realities of somebody pulling a gun on me. And mind you, to end this video, I had talked to one of my sellers. He was from Westside Merced. He was from Dead End Locals. And he had a wife. And I don't know how it came up. I don't remember the subject matter, to be honest with you. But I had asked him, like, hey, what's up, fool? Like, what, she can't choose her family over you? And I was trying to say, like, man, that's her family. I mean, you're together. You married her. But that's also her family. That's her dad. That's her mom. That's her sister that are telling her one thing about this relationship. And he just, like, confidently just looked at me and was like, I don't give a damn if it's her family or not. She chooses her husband over her family. She's with me. I'm her family. We have kids together. So our relationship is above theirs. It matters the most. Forget that relationship. Forget her family. She better choose me over her family. And for years I thought about that conversation. I was like, is that true? Because in this situation, she might have chose her brother's side over her man's side. And to this day, I don't really have an answer for that because, you know, family's important. You know, you can't take away a woman or a man's mother, father, brother, and sister. You can't separate that from that person. But being with somebody, does that make them priority? I want to ask you guys that question. So with that being said, like I always say, it's one life, one chance. We only got one chance to do this right. Let's get it done. Peace.